Hello everyone, got 5 dirty jokes for you today. So the boss started to notice that one of his employees, Dave, started gaining lots of female attention. So, one day he asks Dave about his secret. Dave replies, "Well, before making love I simply whip out my willy and smack it against the bedside table, like a hammer. It numbs it up and makes me last longer." Later that day, the boss gets home to his wife and finds her in the shower, a welcome opportunity for test Dave's idea out. So, he quickly undresses and starts banging his thing against the dresser, just before hearing his wife calling from the shower. "Dave, is that you?" So 2 married buddies are out drinking one night, when one turns to the other and says, "You know, I don't know what else to do. Whenever I go home after we've been out drinking, I turn the headlights off before I get to the driveway. I shut off the engine and coast into the garage. I take my shoes off before I go into the house. I sneak up the stairs. I get undressed in the bathroom. I ease into bed and my wife still wakes up and yells at me for staying out so late." His buddy looks at him and says, "Well, you're obviously taking the wrong approach." He continues, "I screech into the driveway, slam the door, storm up the steps, throw my shoes into the closet, jump into bed, rub my hands on my wife's ass and say, 'How about some fun?' And she's always sound asleep." So 3 writers, Al, Ben, and Carl, who were attending a writing convention, booked a 3-bedroom suite on the 75th floor of a hotel. When they arrived back at the hotel from the convention, the receptionist told them, "I'm terribly sorry, but all the elevators are broken. In the meantime, you will have to take the stairs." Now, Al was a writer of funny stories, Ben was a writer of scary stories, and Carl was a writer of sad stories. The 3 of them agreed that, to make it less boring, Al would tell the other 2 his funniest stories while they climbed from floors 1 to 25. Ben would tell his scariest stories from floors 26 to 50, and Carl would tell his saddest stories from floors 51 to 75. They started to climb the stairs, and Al started to tell funny stories. By the time they reached the 25th floor, Ben and Carl were laughing hysterically. Then Ben started to tell scary stories. By the time they reached the 50th floor, Al and Carl were hugging each other in fear. Then Carl started to tell sad stories. "I'll tell my saddest story of all first," he said. "There once was a man named Carl who left the hotel room key in the car. So a Russian mobster goes to meet Italian Mafia. As soon as Italians notice him, they scoff. 'You're not real gangster.' 'Why not?' the Russian asks. 'Do you own a 4-story mansion?' 'Well, no.' 'How many limousines you own?' 'Limousines? I have none.' 'And where is your solid gold necklace?' I do not have one.' The Italians mafiosos scoff once again and shoo him away. The Russian leaves, feeling terribly humiliated all the way to his homeland. As soon as he arrives, he gathers all his goons and lackeys. 'Okay, listen. After my visit in Italy, I realized that it is time for some changes. Ivan, gather your men and go steal a wrecking ball. The 2 upmost stories of the mansion need to go. Then Vlad, sell all of my helicopters and jets and buy limos instead. Lastly, Dmitri, fetch my dog. I need his collar for myself.' So a man walks into a bar and says to the bartender, 'Beer for me, beer for you, and beer for everyone who is in the bar now.' After drinking, the man starts walking out of the bar. 'Hey, what about the payment?' yells the bartender. 'I have no money,' answers the man. The bartender hears that and beats the man as hard as he can, then throws him out into the street. The next evening, the man walks again into the bar and says to the bartender, "Beer for me, beer for you, and beer for everyone who is in the bar now." The bartender thinks to himself, the man can't be stupid enough to pull the same trick twice. Tonight he must have enough money, and gives beer to everyone. After drinking, the man starts walking out of the bar. "Hey, what about the payment?" yells the bartender. "I have no money," answers the man. The bartender hears that and beats the man as hard as he can, then throws him out into the street. One evening later, the man walks again into the bar and says to the bartender, "Beer for me, and beer for everyone who is now in the bar." In disgust, the bartender asks, "What? No beer for me this time?" "Nah," answers the man. "You get violent when you drink."